old-timey Christmas stuff. I love it. Here we are. It is early this morning, man. It's about 4:15 in the morning, and for a change, we're shooting in Denmark. I mean, Tokyo. I mean, we're in Toronto, but it is early in the morning. Chris and I are here. We're gonna try a little intuition thing, Chris and I. And so, Chris, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the cards, and at some point, I want you to make a sound. It can be a snap of the fingers, it can be a whistle, whatever you want. I'm gonna go through the cards very slowly. Here we go. Now, I'm gonna do it slowly to give you a chance that whenever you want, you can just make that sound at a card, okay? Whenever you feel like it. Well, I'm assuming that came out of your mouth, and we'll go with this one. Okay, now, actually, no, I want to go with the card I haven't even seen. I'm just going to turn over the cards, give you a little peek at it. Tell me when it's in focus, brother, when you got it. Take your time.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you felt like you could have made that sound at any point in the cards, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now look. Going to take the cards. I'm not going to alter the order in the least. Going to slip the cards. Actually, maybe I'll give them a cut. There we go. Put them inside the card case. Now, when I was first getting into magic many, many years ago, I developed a weird ability. I can actually, what I used to be able to do is have the one card you're thinking of, have the back of that card change color. The back of the one card you're thinking of change color. But that was many years ago. And since then, what I've actually learned how to do is have every other card in the pack, all of them change color, except for the one card you have in mind. And what I particularly like is that every card in the pack and the card case can be closely examined. This is a very tidy, very commercial version of a classic color-changing deck routine. One of the things I love about it is it uses an advanced sleight, okay? Now here in the channel I talk a lot about the virtues of simple sleights or even tricks that require almost no sleights because it allows you to focus on entertaining people, connecting with the trick, connecting with the audience, and all these things. However, there's so much to be said for advanced sleight of hand as well, because with a single one advanced sleight, you can sometimes eliminate so many things. One of the great things about this too is that people will want to look at the cards closely. This has this whole, those have got to be tricky cards. I mean, how can you go from this to that? They have to be tricky. So people will want to look at them, but there's nothing to palm out. You use an ordinary deck, so there's a lot of virtues to this. But like I said, the price you pay is to learn an advanced level sleight. This is precisely the kind of thing you'll find a whole bunch of on my InsideDeception.com training site. It's an exclusive site. It's a membership only. I know a bunch of you are already joining it, InsideDeception.com. I'll have a link at the end. You can actually join for $9.95. So for less than 10 bucks, showing off my math there. For less than 10 bucks, you can join, and for less than 10 bucks, you'll have instant access to literally hundreds of next level videos. So I wanted to mention that this is the kind of thing you'll find a lot of. This advanced sleight you're going to really like. A lot of different uses. It's a classic poker sleight. It is in fact called the second deal. The second deal, I'm the first to admit I'm not a master at it, okay? I've seen some guys who have a lot less flash and have to hang the card a lot less to get to it. But it is absolutely one of these very beautiful moves. Now, I've used it over the years in many different ways, the second deal. And one way I use it, my ambitious card. You know, you'll have the sign card on top of the deck. It's come to the top a couple times. Boom, it comes to the top again. And you say, look, we'll try it again. Slip it in there. Snap my fingers, it comes to the top. I mean, we'll bury it down, and I'll sometimes just deal the cards down the table, showing the ace, right? And then you can deal it down onto the table and bury it, which is kind of interesting. Because you can do it as a transpo, where you show the card on top, do your second deal, okay? Have them put their hand on it, and still it jumps to the top, okay? And they see it's an indifferent card there. Or you can take it even further and bury it. I've done this in a bar when you're really starting to flow. Well, you'll have the signed card there, and you'll say, look, we'll put a few cards on top of it. In fact, I'll tell you what, we'll put about half the deck on top of it. Why don't you put your hands on it? You put your hand on top. Make sure we can't get near the ace, okay? Snap your fingers, do a two-hand turnover or two-finger turnover, and boom. So it's got many, many uses as either an implicit or explicit change or switch or all these things. Now, what is the technique of the second deal? Like I said, I am no master of this second deal, and I bet I use it in a few select places. I want to make sure, I push the card not to the side like this, because that's going straight. I do it on an angle, okay? It's like this. Some people will hinge it off the corner, okay? So it sort of pivots right there. I put no practice into that. It's almost like a diamond, a second deal, okay? But instead, what I'm doing here is I'm pushing, and I'm hitting that card, and I'm pulling. Push, pull. Push, pull. It is that simple. Now, one tip I'll give you is when I was younger, I used to do it in a 2-beat. It would be push and take and off. But as I've gotten older now, it's more at the same time. Same time. Same time. And this is like so many advanced sleights that you're going to be tempted to rush it. You're going to right off the bat be able to kind of go deal, 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 deal. Slow it down. Particularly in this trick context where I'm having someone call stop whenever they want. Notice, if I were to go quickly, if I were to go like this, that is suspicious, okay? Or even if I were to do this, say stop whenever you want, that's not as dramatic or as impressive, or it doesn't have that sort of dramatic theatrical focus as if I were dealing like this. Whenever you want, I want you to have the sense, or want you to say stop, or make a sound, or hail a cab, or grab a garden hose and hose off an elephant, whatever you want, okay? Hand comes up and I'm dealing. So those were legitimate deals, okay? For anybody who thought, man, those look good, those were legitimate deals. Let me show you. If I have, say, a 7 of hearts on top, okay? And I come up like this, these are my second deals. None of these, as you can see, are the 7 of hearts. But the deals look good. They're looking like every card is coming off the top of the deck, but in every case, I'm holding back. Now, this is very much one of those advanced sleights that, depending on the situation, you can tailor your gestures slightly. If there's a lot of people and they're close, then you're going to have to do what magicians call necktying the deck, which is to bring it closer up here, okay? If people are standing, I have to come up here and pull it off the top of the deck here, okay, to make sure it doesn't flash. If people are sitting and their eye level's a little lower, then I can kind of bring it up here, okay? And notice, couple of things here. Obviously, if you're gambling with friends, I mean, typically the second deal is something people use to hold a card, like the ace, on top of the deck while they're dealing out cards, okay? Dealing out cards and they deal it back to themselves. In that context, obviously playing poker, even a so-called friendly game, you've got to hit it perfectly, and any telltale signs will trigger people, will make them suspicious. There's money on the table. However, if what you're in a context, you're performing and you're a magician, okay, then it's a little more casual. Now, what I do normally to really cover my butt, because I don't want this to flash, is rather than dealing like this, first off, realize that you're turning over the card. You're trying, so this gives you a lot more natural cover. This larger action of grabbing the cards and turning them over is giving you a lot more larger action, okay? Second thing I do too is I'm going slowly, and I tend to, rather than keeping it down here, because notice, I could keep the deck down here and turn them like this, and I still have this larger action to cover my seconds, okay? But I bring the hands higher up, use more, and I'm not grabbing with this, I use more of the back of the hand, and so there's actually I'm almost like this, offering lots of cover for dealing the cards onto the table, okay? And again, I'm here, I'm doing this, using the full fingers, the thumb, okay? But you could, in fact, necktie, and I have done it in situations where, and the whole thing, I mean, you could almost slide it back like this, right? There, and now you can indetectably just deal until they say stop, and it's a nice force, they say stop, you come down. But for the color-changing deck routine, you're going to have to learn that you can't hold it back. You actually have to nicely time when the card goes off and when it comes back, off and back. Now, this color-changing deck idea is something I came up with many, many years ago because I was practicing the second deal. This is back in the day when I wanted to learn all 642 different versions of the second deal, and I realized, in fact, let me grab the whole blue deck here. I realized that a second deal allows me to show a red card, come up, second deal one of the blue and put it down. Second deal one of the blue cards and put it down. One of the blue cards and put it down. So I was able to force this card as per original second deal, but every single time sell the idea that I was dealing nothing but red cards down onto the table. There's so much about these advanced sleights is it's as much about your emotional confidence as it is about how accurate your fingers are, your placement. You have to combine the two. And then ultimately you have to forget about it so you can perform for people, obviously. Focus on them. The perfect way to do this is to have already performed with a red deck that's been shuffled and examined and then do some kind of deck switch. Typically what you could do is take the cards, put them in the card case, right? Put them in your pocket, literally in your other pocket or back pocket. You have a red deck, you have the card case, a duplicate card case, okay? And you've got it set up with one red card on top and the blue deck, and it's in there. And this is where, and you guys hear me say it all the time, you don't want to get caught thinking like a magician here. Because I can't tell you how many times I put a deck of cards in this pocket or in my back pocket or somewhere on me, done a mentalism, done some mentalism, done some sponge ball, done something else like this. And then I say, let me show you one more card trick and take this out of the other pocket. Nobody ever goes, wait a second, wasn't it over here? And actually the card case supports and creates this illusion in a number of different ways. First, if you're going to do a deck switch, if you're going to do some kind of deck switch, it means you don't have loose decks sitting in your pocket. So the cases help keep things separate and clean. You can have other things in your pocket. So from a pragmatic or practical point of view, that's one reason, okay? The other thing I really like about a card case is if you're at a gig, a weird gig, okay? Let's say a high-end gig and there's this sense that the performer's not supposed to use the washrooms, you've got a card case. That can be very helpful in a certain moment, right? The other thing I love about this, of course, is the psychology of showing the red. And this is a big part, and this is something I learned years ago when exploring sort of color-changing decks, is if you've got, of course, this is a red card case, but my final deck's going to be blue, that's a great way to sell this idea. So if you say, look, I'm going to show you one last thing, okay? And you could even talk about colorblind, you could talk about, color this or this kind of thing. Do you have a favorite color? And, referring to the case the whole time really sells to the idea that they are still, of course, the red deck. So you're taking the cards out, got the red card on top, right? And when you're dealing the cards on the table, you're dealing on the table, down on the table, beside the card case. So it all comes together. So you're here, of course, you got your one different color here. You deal through till they call stop. Let's say I've dealt through a bunch of cards. And again, stand-up version, you can literally this. Now, you can show this. And then don't show this again and do the whole thing from a necktie. If you're going to do a stand-up version or a stage version. But you don't have the chance of flashing the red backs as much. Okay, at some point they call stop or they make the sound, whatever, okay? And then you tilt the deck and you let them see one. Okay, or you could take it off. You could take it right off and show it around, right? And then put it back on like that. I love the moment where I don't alter the order of the cards. I just put them back down on the cards on the table, gather everything back up, making sure you don't flash the backs, of course. Then you put the cards in the case. Now this is something else that cards do. As soon as the cards go in the case, first it's selling red, red, red. Second, it's saying there's no way the magician can tamper with the cards. And that's so important in this kind of trick with the pacing to make it look as dramatic and as impossible as possible. As impossible as possible. So you got containment. Now, giving this to someone to hold on to is also very strong. Getting them involved. It seems fair. They're holding the cards. Do that as much as you can, okay? Forever give people stuff to hold. Hold, okay? Then, of course, you can go into sort of can you see your card? Okay, and I want you to imagine the back of the card and this and that. Now, the one line I tend to use every time I perform this trick is this one line, and I'm sure I included it at the end of the performance I did for you guys, which is, years ago, I actually learned the secret to being able to have the back of the one card you're thinking of change color. Now, that's quite a claim. They're thinking of apparently any card. You're going to change the color of the back. But then you build, and I've mentioned this on the channel before, I'm always building, making what I do seem more and more impossible. As impossible as possible. So in this case, I say, but that was many years ago. I like this twist here. That was many years ago. Since then, I've actually learned how to change the color of the backs of every other card in the deck. Sort of from 1 to 51, okay? Really playing it up. Snap your fingers like this. Now, you got this nice drama. You could, and I'm always asking this here on the channel because this is an art, not a science. So it's important for you to consider the options here. You could have them name the cards spread through, okay? Only then show the backs. But I think there's a lot more mystery and drama in this notion of taking the cards out of the case, or you could even have somebody else take them out of the case and they spread through. And as they spread through, you'll get those beautiful moments where, like, that's magic enough. Even if this wasn't, notice, even if this wasn't the card they're thinking of, this would still be very magical. All the cards change colors except for one. But the fact that this is the one card they were thinking of, and it too changed color. I love it. Now, be careful with the pacing on this trick. As I said, everybody will want to examine these cards. They really will want to examine them closely. So be prepared for that in your pacing. Sometimes younger performers are so busy to get to their last trick or the next one's really great that they don't give this the moment it needs. Let people examine the cards. Let them really explore the mystery. I want to leave you with 3 quick thoughts. Number 1, I am not a Gemini. Okay, this is from Macklemore's recent tour. My daughter and I, my 11-year-old daughter Madeline and I, Madeline Macklemore, as possible as impossible. We had a chance to see him in a small club, and I love the positivity. Yes, Macklemore, very, very poppy, I get it. But at the same time, his positivity, if you see him and how much energy as a performer he gave the audience. Energy is so important when you're performing for people. You truly do get what you give when it comes to live performance. And so I'm all about energy, and Macklemore is awesome, and this is his recent tour. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. I'm a Capricorn, actually. Some of you will not be surprised. I'm a Capricorn. Number 2, we're coming into the holidays here. I don't know, whatever holiday you celebrate. I'm definitely not just referring to Judeo-Christian holidays. There's lots of different kinds of holidays. I think they're all beautiful. But part of me is kind of sad about them. I think it's kind of sad. I mean, I love that holidays help us focus and be grateful and focus on family and get past a whole bunch of stuff. At the same time, part of me kind of almost resents that we need a specific time of year to focus on all these things. Sometimes I wonder if we didn't have that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe rather than never focusing, maybe we'd focus more often. I don't know. So that's a thought about the holidays. I sincerely wish, though, over the holidays, hope you take some downtime. Hope you spend some time with people who really matter to you and don't get caught up in just, mindless, dead ceremony of things. Say to hell with it. I'm gonna make the most of this holiday for myself. So I hope you do that as well. And the third thing I wanted to say, coming up to Criss and I have had a blast. Mr. Mayhew and I have had a blast this year doing all these videos, and I'm sure I will thank you guys again on a couple other videos as we get up to the new year and stuff. But I just want to take a moment to say thank you very, very much. This has meant so much to me, to have so many of you share my passion. And, I've mentioned before, but a big part of what modest success I've had is because you guys have supported me. And I really, really appreciate it. So thank you for watching this video. And I hope the holidays are great for you. And I hope 2018 is a fantastic year for you. And that you set some goals and try to empower yourself and cut away so much of the crap we have in our lives and really focus on what matters for you.